I have a riddle for you, okay? What's white, black, gray, and carries a fishing pole wherever he goes? You stomp? Brendan!
Right.
Yeah, you went over. Okay, so he's trying to catch my dog.
I have a piece of steak on the end.
Can't see it because it's the invisible kind of steak.
But also, I need to put this down.
Okay, come sit down.
It's really big.
Okay. Come sit down. There we go. Good job. Okay, so I was asked to talk about this about one of my friends. I have a lot of really good-looking friends and guy friends, and one thing that I've been this guy right here. Look at his cute little.
I don't think so.
So I was my friend Angel and I were talking, and he's a really good-looking guy. Never had problems with girls growing up. Always had kind of girls that always liked him. And he was saying, he's like, don't you find it funny how girls are always saying how they get used by guys and don't know if they're serious or not because they're so beautiful and they're so used to being hit on. And I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, don't you hate it when that happens to us? And I was like, dude, yes. And one thing that a lot of guys that have issues is that lightning. He was growling at the box because he couldn't jump on it.
Even though he can't.
No. Anyway, and he was saying how he was dating this one girl, and all she would do is tell him how cute he was, and how funny he is, and how adorable he is, and how good looking he is. And he's like, yeah, that's nice. And he's like, but I want a girl to tell me, like, oh, I like you for your personality. I like you for your character. I like you because you make me happy. I can trust you. I can open up. And I was like, really thinking about that. I was like, I didn't really know that was like an issue with some guys. And like, cause I went through that a lot because if I dated a girl, I never really knew if she was dating me because I was funny and just because I was good looking. That's it. Or they liked the way I talked to them. They didn't like me for me. They just liked the sweet things I said to them. And that's one thing that I want to tell a lot of girls. If you got a guy who is a player or was a player and he wants to be with you, make sure you tell him that you love him for who he is as a person, not just for his looks or because he's funny like that. Because we hear that all the time. Because that's all we hear, guys like us here. All we hear is we're good looking or we're funny or we're hot. That's all we hear. And it's nice to hear. Like, still tell your guy that he's handsome, that he's good looking, but also make sure you tell him you're like, wow, I love that I can open up to you, that I can talk to you. I feel like I can trust you, and like all these things, because that really helps. Because honestly, a lot of guys who are really good looking, we just feel like we're just being dated because of our looks, just like girls, believe it or not. So that's one thing that like a lot of not a lot of guys will really be able to say. Not a lot of guys will actually admit that, but him and I are really close when we were talking about that. But that's just one thing I really wanted you guys to know is that if you're dating a really good looking guy and you notice that girls like compliment a lot, make sure you tell them why you love them, and you love them for them and not just the way they look. And I promise you that's really gonna help you guys a lot. You got anything to add?
Well, I think that was pretty good, and I don't have anything to add.
Okay, well, that's really all I wanted to say is just, if you got a guy and, you see all these girls complimenting him, make sure you tell him you love him for who he is as a person and tell him why you love him, like his character traits, his personality traits, not just he's cute and funny. But yeah, if you guys have anything else you guys want me to talk about, anything at all, just, comment, message me or whatever, and I would love to talk about it. So yeah, see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might not. I don't know.
I don't know. Possibilities are endless. Bye, guys.